It is August, it is hot, I'm tired of it, and I want fall. Let's learn the harvest crochet stitch. If you're new here, my name is Delight, and I love to crochet, and I want to take you with me. This is a little bit different than videos I've done in the past. I don't know how to do the harvest stitch. I found a tutorial on Pinterest from Desert Bloom Crafts. I will link it below. So I'm just going to go through this tutorial with you and kind of give you the play-by-play as I learn a new stitch. If you like to learn new crochet stitches, go ahead and subscribe to my channel because we'll be having more of these in the future. What is the harvest stitch? It is a variation of the puff stitch. The pattern is just one repeating row, so once we get it down, it'd be easy to do this while watching TV or listening to a true crime podcast or whatever your flavor is. I am using, it's just a typical acrylic worsted weight yarn. I don't know where to get this exact yarn anymore because the website where I bought it no longer exists, but I'll link something similar. The next thing you'll need is a hook that's the right size for your yarn. Mine is an H or 5 millimeters. And then I've got scissors for when I'm done. And a drink. I'm over caffeinated today. I'm drinking more coffee. Grab your supplies. Let's get started. Let's learn how to do the harvest stitch together. All right, the first line of the pattern says to foundation single crochet. So I'm going to start with a slip knot. I do have a more in-depth tutorial on foundation single crochet. I will link in the cards up above. Slip knot, and then I'll do 2 chains, and then I'll go back into my first chain, go over, pull through 1, go over, pull through another 1, and then go over and pull through 2. And then I go back in and continue. So that was 1 foundation crochet. Here is the second. So it's gonna look like that. And it says to do a multiple of 7 plus 2. So that's like 14 or 21, and then add 2 more. So I'm going to pause the recording here and come back once I decide if I'm gonna do 14 plus 2 or 21 plus 2 for my little practice swatch. Okay, I decided to go ahead and do 23 foundation single crochets, because it is 3 times 7, 21 plus 2, 23, right? Sometimes basic math seems so hard when you're crocheting. So I have 23 foundation crochets here. Now I'm on to row 1. The first thing it says to do is chain 3. And I think she says above here that a chain 3 does count as a double. Let me scroll back up and make sure. A chain 3, yes, chain 3 at the beginning of the row counts as a double crochet. That's important to know. Now we're gonna turn and we're gonna double crochet in the next stitch. Okay, then skip 2 stitches and puff stitch in the next foundation single crochet. Okay, so skipping 2, and I'm gonna go in here. Now there actually is, I think, a few ways to puff stitch, so I'm going to go scroll back up, and she describes exactly how to do the puff stitch. So yarn over, insert a hook into the indicated stitch. Yeah, I skipped 2, okay. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, insert hook into same, okay, yarn over, insert hook into same stitch, like this, yarn over, pull up a loop, then one more time. Okay, this is similar to what I've done before. So now we have how many? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 loops on the hook. It says to yarn over and pull through 6 of them. So I guess that's all of them but this. Okay, so now I have 2 loops on the hook, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2. Okay, so that is the first little puff stitch. It looks good. And now it says chain 2. Oh, and puff stitch again in the same foundation single crochet. So I'm going to do that same puff stitch in here. So that makes it a little tight, which is fine. Let's see, so yarn over, pull up a loop, and then I'm going to do 2 more times. And then I'm going to have 7, let me make sure I got this right. Yeah, looks right. 7 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 6, ooh, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, yeah, that's starting to look like the picture. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is skip 2 foundation single crochets and double crochet in the next 2. Okay, so sometimes like skipping stitches is hard, so I'm gonna skip 1, 2, and I'm gonna do a double crochet into here. Wait, no, okay, I'm good. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to chain or anything like that. Okay, now that's looking right. Okay, and then another just plain double crochet. Awesome. Repeat across. So I'm going back to the part where I skip 2 and then I puff stitch. Okay, so skipping 1, 2, I'm gonna puff stitch in here. Okay. Sometimes, see, this is why you don't want to use yarn that splits. Ooh. See, this is me in real time. If you use yarn that splits really easily, it's really hard to do that part when you're pulling through 6 loops at the same time. So chaining 2 and then doing another puff stitch, hoping this one is a little smoother. Oh, my yarn's all, okay. Okay, hopefully can pull through this. There we go. That was a smooth one. And now I'm going to skip 2 and, oh yeah, this, I can see this going really easy while you're totally not paying attention after you get the hang of it. I'm just gonna continue like that and come back when I get to the end of the row and see what the next step is. Okay, so I think I counted correctly because I just did my last puff stitch or double puff stitch here. Now I'm gonna skip 2 and then I'm gonna do 2 double crochets in these last 2 stitches and I'll be at the end of my row. So that is satisfying. I love it when that works out because sometimes it's like when you get to the end of the row, things are a little different and you're like, what am I doing? How is this working? And then you realize you miscounted or something and you have a random little tail hanging off on the end, but I did not do that this time. Chain 3, turn, double crochet in the next stitch. So I'm not going to double crochet right here because that my chain 3 is counting as a double crochet. So I'm going to double crochet right there. And now, okay, so this is actually slightly different because now I think I'm going to put my puff stitches in this chain 2 space. Yes, I'm going to continue. I'm going to do the puff stitch, chain 2, puff stitch inside of this chain 2 space right here. So that is a lot. Actually, that's easier than the first round. Oh my gosh. Okay, I forgot what I was doing. Sorry. Sometimes this is a challenge. Okay, let me think about this for a second. What am I doing? I'm puff stitching 1, 2, 3. And that's a tight one. I got an extra loop. Right there, but I'm just gonna go with it and pull through it and pretend that didn't happen. You didn't see that. Chain 2, do another puff stitch. Okay, so this, it's looking to me like this gets even easier on your second and more rows because you're doing these 2 puff stitches inside of the chain 2 space, so it's much easier to fit them in there than fitting 2 stitches into 1 foundation single crochet like you did on the first row. Okay, so now skip the next puff stitch, DC, and next DC. Yeah, okay, so that means I'm not gonna do anything with this. I'm gonna do 2 double crochets in the top of these double crochets from the previous round, so that's makes sense. I'm kind of stacking these on top of each other. Okay, now I'm back to repeating. So I'm just gonna skip into here and do my puff stitches and chain 2. It's kind of like a V stitch with a puff stitch. It's like a hybrid V and puff stitch together, which is kind of cool. And okay, so it's 1 puff stitch, chain 2. All right, well, I am going to continue like this, and I'll show you what it looks like in a few more minutes. I'm at the end of round 2. I think it's all correct, but now this is kind of a funky part, so I just wanted to show you what I'm gonna do. There's 2 double crochets at the end here, so it's obvious where I'm gonna put my first double crochet because it's in the top of my first double crochet from the previous round. But now I need to put a double crochet in top of the chain 3 that I used kind of as my turning and first double crochet of the row. So I feel like this is hard. I mess this up still to this day to know like where am I putting this stitch. But I think I'm gonna put it through this V right here. See if it wants to go. And then it's kind of hard to grab a hold of it too. There may be a better way to do this. Yeah, it doesn't want to even, oh, that's a pain to do that every single. So I could just go through this hole. Let's see how that looks. It's kind of gonna make a big hole on the side, but maybe that's okay. I mean, it's easier that way. So I may just do that for this practice swatch and just put my last double crochet kind of in this space that's created from the 3 chains. And then I'm gonna do my 3 chains again. There may be a better way to do this part of it that will look a little bit prettier and more and like straighter along the edge. So if you know a better way, let me know. Give me a link to a tutorial. Okay, I'm back to doing my puff stitches now, and I think this is really fun. I don't think I can do a puff stitch while talking very well though, because I just tried to do it and I pulled it out. So yeah, I like this. I think it'd be fun. You could make all kinds of different things with it. So I'm gonna keep going to make this a square-ish swatch and show you what it looks like at the end. This is how it's looking. I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows of the harvest stitch pattern. And you can see how it's looking a little trapezoidal here. It's a little smaller at the top than it is at the bottom. And I think that's because I guess I must have been kind of slack on my tension at the beginning. Like I was trying to figure out how to do the stitch so I wasn't like holding it with my normal tension. And then up here, I kind of got comfortable. So I started actually having more tension. So that's why you see like it's going like this just slightly, but you know, it's my first time trying this. So I'm happy with it. I think it's pretty. And one thing I was thinking, like, what could you use this for? And I think one option could be something like a mug rug. So I was just putting my coffee mug right on there, and I was like, oh, sorry, you can see my lipstick on here. I was thinking that looks kind of cool. One thing I would do just to make the bottom match the top is whatever size you get to, whatever you're gonna make. Actually, this would make a cool scarf, to be honest, too. And anyway, whatever length you're gonna make it, I think at the very end, what I would do is turn around and do a single crochet in each stitch across here, because you started with a foundation single crochet down here. and that will make it look more clean along the edge. And maybe even if you're making a scarf or something, you could do some kind of edging along here to like tidy up this this line. But yeah, I think it's really fun. I hope you enjoy learning how to do the harvest stitch. And again, if you like crochet tutorials, subscribe to my channel and check out this video right here where I teach you how to do the seed stitch. And I'll see you in the next one.